Hello there, lovely people, and welcome to Ask Alex, the show where you ask me your burning Nintendo questions, and I do my best to answer them as best I can. The big question today comes from Hallie Lama, who asks, will Nintendo go region-free in the near future? Now, for those that don't know, the 3DS and the Wii U are both what's termed region-locked, and that means that you can't play any games bought from countries outside of the one that you bought the console in. Now, that may seem like a strange practice, and frankly, it's a bit of an old one. It was one that was used for so many reasons. I really can't be bothered to go into the details of it. I'm sure you can find out by a quick Google search if you want to learn more. Now, as far as I'm aware, the Game Boy and the DS and the Game Boy Advance, basically all of Nintendo's handhelds up until the 3DS, have all been region-free, which is brilliant because you can play games that come from other countries on it. I did it myself with Pokkén Diamond, and it worked really well. It was just a simple system, and there was no, fannying around. So the fact that the current generation consoles are region-locked is really quite frustrating, and it's such an old practice, and, I mean, Microsoft don't do it for their console, and nor does Sony anymore. So, come on Nintendo, why haven't you gone region-free yet? I don't know the answer, but I'm sure they've got their reasons. But will they stop this archaic practice in the near future? Answering your question. Yes, I think they will, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Partly it's because it is such an old system, and with globalization, release dates are getting, closer and closer together for different countries. And also, Nintendo have dropped several hints that they are certainly considering it, so it's definitely not out of the question. Even if it doesn't happen this generation, chances are, we can hope, it will next generation. Quickfire questions now, and Hydrox has asked me, will Pokkén Tournament ever come to the Wii U? Well, for those that don't know, Pokkén Tournament is an arcade game that Nintendo have announced recently, and a couple of people have had a go at it. It's a fighting game, basically, but features Pokemon characters. And it looks like it could run on the Wii U, which is why a lot of people have been wondering this. But frankly, I don't think it will. I think if Nintendo had plans to release it on the Wii U, we'd already know by now, and the fact that we don't suggests that it's probably not, which is a shame because it looks like it might be a lot of fun. I believe this is probably down to Smash Bros being such a key franchise for Nintendo at the moment, and obviously that's a fighting game, and they probably don't want to detract from it, maybe. I'm just sort of pulling things out of the air. I don't really know. I just don't think we're going to get it, unfortunately. The bad guys asked me whether the original Starfox, or Starwing as it was known in Europe, will ever come to Virtual Console. Obviously, I can't answer whether I think it will or won't, but I think it's certainly possible, because one of the issues that many people bring up is the Super FX chip. The Super FX chip was put inside the Starwing cartridge and allowed the SNES to get additional processing power, some other very clever things that I don't really understand, and basically it improved the graphics and the gameplay. However, this Super FX chip has caused a number of issues when it comes to emulation for many people who've been, attempted to emulate the game and create ROMs of it, and I'm sure Nintendo are no different. They've got to emulate it just in the same way as anyone else. And I reckon that they're clever people, they'll, be able to work it out, I'm sure, but I'm not sure whether it's a high priority. I really hope it does, but we'll just have to wait and see. And finally, Swift has asked me to name a couple of my favourite Smash Bros. Stages. Well, I'm going to give you one from each game to try and keep it nice and varied. From the original Smash Bros, it's probably going to have to be Green Greens, just because I was Kirby mad when I was younger, and still am a bit. From Melee, it's got to be Temple, because that blew my mind. It was so big compared to the other stages, and it still is enormous, but it's so much fun. It doesn't detract from the gameplay, a bit like Palutena's Temple. That's not as fun, and I can't put my finger on why that is. From Brawl, it's probably going to have to be Luigi's Mansion, because you've got all those different layers, but you can break them down and it becomes a flat stage, and then it gets built back up again. Also the music. The music! And finally, from the 3DS and Wii U version, it's got to be the Garden of Hope. I mean, have you seen it? Not only am I a huge Pikmin fan, but it looks gorgeous. It's got that giant crab, and also it just feels like a really fresh and fun level. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to ask me a question yourself, there's a link in the description which you can click and it'll take you straight to where you can ask me. If you like this video, consider finding that subscribe button and poking it in the eye for me. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thanks again. Bye bye.